cannot seem to figure you out. Why? Because you're on a whole different playing field. Why are they having such a hard time figuring you out? Hello, Light Warrior. It's Bella Bashan here. There are people around you who are struggling to beat you at your own game. And the reason why is because you're on a whole other playing field. While somebody around you thinks they have your number, they think that they're playing some type of game with you, but actually you're getting your moves from God. You're turning to God for the next move, which makes you very unpredictable. And also, you're playing a whole different game. While they're over here playing checkers, they may have thought they've mastered checkers. You're on a whole different game. You're playing chess, which requires a whole different strategy. The example that the Holy Spirit gave me was that of David from the Bible, King David, how David beat Goliath. He was actually on a whole different playing field when he beat Goliath. He had been actually out in the field in a literal different playing field, going against different types of combat, different types of warfare, different types of things coming up against him. So he had developed a different skill set. And so when he came to beat Goliath, he was using a different skill set than the other people around him. And he was dressed differently. Saul tried to make him change his outfit and use a different weapon. And David was on a different level with the skill set that he had, and he knew that. And so he played the giant at a different level than everybody else was expecting. Even the giant was thrown off. Even the giant was over here playing checkers while David was playing chess. The giant was doing the same old moves, the same old bullying. He thought he had it beat. And that was part of the problem. He thought he had won the battle before the battle even started. He was not expecting David to have a different strategy. He was on a different playing field. And so if you're wondering, how do you get on a different playing field, or how did I get on this different playing field? One, you, again, like I said in the beginning, you got your moves from the Holy Spirit, and that helps you move mysteriously. When God's been training you out in the field, it gives you the skill set that God needs you for the area that God's going to anoint you to be in. So God's been having you go through all this to develop this next level skill set, this higher level of strategy, and this being on a different playing field. And so being on a different playing field requires time, effort, and dedication. It often involves surpassing the average expectation and constantly pushing oneself to achieve a higher standard of excellence. And so you didn't get here by mistake. This has come through a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of practice. And it may be a different level than what the people going against you, the people trying to beat you at your own game. And so whoever this giant is in your life, it could be a bully, it could be, the narcissist in your life, a family member, a work member, a whole, a community of people, whatever it is, you're on a different playing field. And this is why you have been developing and building your skills. And so these are also attributes that we can all work on if we want to enter this next level of playing field, to be in a different level of strategy. It takes dedicated practice and consistent learning, passion and dedication. It takes, again, time and effort. It takes a tremendous amount of dedication, strong passion for what you're doing. Passion and dedication. A strong passion for the field of interest drives individuals to invest significant amount of time and effort. This dedication allows them to focusing on honoring their abilities and consistently pushing yourself forward. This reminds me a lot of David just out in the field with the animals and the dedication and that he had in honoring that position that he had at that time, and how that specific, by honoring the position he was in, how it developed the skill set he needed for the next level. Continuous learning. Staying updated with the latest knowledge, trends, and techniques is another way that you are on a different playing field. Embracing challenges. Being willing to face and overcome challenges is key. This includes stepping out of your comfort zone, taking risks, and persisting when things get difficult. David did this. David took risks to save the animals when he was out in the field, which is one way he knew that he could beat Goliath. He was out there wrestling bears and tigers and wild animals to save his flock. And so when it came to overcoming the giant, he had been practicing that. And also when it came to beating the giant, he had the guts to step out of his comfort zone and to believe in himself. And that is one thing that elevated David to a higher level. So those are some ways that we can get ourselves to the next playing field. One of the things that gives you a superior strategy and getting your moves from the Holy Spirit, from a higher level, turning to prayer. And
you know what? You say it when things get
God to guide you each day in a new strategy, which is something that David did consistently, and that is something that helped him to know whether to pursue or to stay put or to not pursue, which is how he won a lot of the battles that he won. And so he had this level of strategy, and he was playing more of a game of chess and not of checkers. And so what does that mean? It means when you're in a checkers mentality versus a chess mentality, it means someone approaches a situation or challenge with a limited or simplistic perspective, lacking the ability to think strategically or to consider multiple possibilities. You're not thinking from a simple perspective. You're thinking from a much broader perspective. You're thinking ahead. You're allowing God to show you everything in foresight and consider multiple possibilities before you're making your move. These are a couple reasons why your opponent or your enemy, whoever they are in your life, why they may be stuck in a checkers mentality while you're over here playing chess, and why they cannot figure you out. Person coming up against you may be in a checkers mentality, meaning they lack foresight. Checkers is a game with limited moves and relatively straightforward strategies. If someone is accustomed to thinking one or two moves ahead, they may struggle to see the bigger picture or to anticipate potential consequences of their actions in more complex situations. They might focus on short-term gains without considering the long-term implications. And so I feel like for a lot of you, one reason why people can't figure you out is because they're trying to do things and they're not really considering the long-term implications of what they're doing. Like, somebody may have tried to come against you and realize that in the long run, it was really a short-term gain. It might have been a better idea for them to hold back on that move, because in the long run, that move that they just did it wasn't the right move. Resistance to change. Checkers gameplay involves repetitive patterns and established rules. Individuals with a checkers mentality may be reluctant to experiment or deviate from traditional methods. They may have difficulties thinking outside the box or exploring different strategies, leading to a limited perspective and missed opportunities, lack of patience and perseverance. Chess matches can be long and complex, requiring patience and careful analysis. Individuals stuck in a checkers mentality may prefer quick wins and immediate gratification. They may not be willing to invest time and effort into necessary long-term planning or in-depth discussion making. Many of you, the people coming up against you, they made a big mistake trying to have that short-term gratification. They might have come up against you and thought that they were going to take you out, and in the short term it felt good. Whatever they were trying to do, whether they were trying to implicate you at work, whether it was a family member who was withholding something from you, in the long run, this really did not work out for them. They were not thinking ahead how this was going to work out. They were like, yes, in the short term, this feels good. I'm going to take out Light Warrior. I'm going to take out the Chosen One. I'm going to hurt them in this moment. But in the long run, they were actually hurting themselves. And so for a lot of you, the people in your life thought it would solve their problem to take you out, basically. That was a limited problem solving analysis. That was not the highest way to handle the situation. And it was a simplistic approach that was based on limited thinking. And so this is why they cannot figure you out right now, because you're on a whole different playing field and you're playing with a whole different level of strategy. I hope this word brought you some encouragement in your spirit. Give it a thumbs up if it did. Subscribe to see more videos, and I'll talk to you again later. God bless.
Adios.
She's come a long way, yeah?